Good evening. Welcome to the Melissa Ray page. It is fun to sometimes feel like a newscaster when you're on Facebook. I am planning to open up a bit over the next 30 days, and I want to share some transformational journeys that I have experienced with you all. And I'm really believing, I know deep down that this is going to be a wonderful process for me, for you. And I'm nervous, and that's normal because I'm really going to open up about a few things. So I came across this quote yesterday. Someone was speaking, and they talked about how they opened their mouth to something their soul demanded for them to share. And so I was like, that's juicy. That's really pertinent, right? And so I was thinking, I could do 30 days where I come on and I talk about my journey, my experience, and there has to be someone that, needs to hear this. And it's so funny because easily I believe that in so many of the people that I come across, but yet when you want to share your own story, it's like, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, the little voice inside your head. So being the change is what everyone says. Be the change you want to see in the world. You should do it. Go for it. Yeah. And you can teach other people to be the change, right? But then you think to yourself, like, well, what am I doing? Where am I being the actual change? So I wanted to share about sharing a real story. And the reason that sharing a real story is super important because I see the world very simply. And this is how I break it down in my brain, and I'm able to have a lot of patience with a lot of different types of people. So when I'm out and meeting new people and across people that I've known a while, integrating with other human beings can be very interesting because they all have a certain mindset. And based on their mindset is how they're coming across to other people. And so when they're coming to talk to you about certain things, you can get annoyed, you can get frustrated, you can think, why are they like this? Why are they, oh, hey, Courtney, thanks for jumping on. And so I'm just talking about how people are portrayed by others, right? And so if you were blessed to have an aunt, a grandmother, an uncle, a friend, a somebody that is kind of like lighthearted and reminding you, oh, maybe she went through something, right? Maybe she experienced something and that's why she's like this. So for example, it could be like, I went to college with someone who was really, really loud, and it annoyed a lot of people. And they talked to me about it, and they're like, why does she always have to be loud? This is like a thing that she's kind of addicted to. And I was like, there could be so many reasons. And it could be she was neglected as a child and she wasn't heard, so she had to raise her voice in order to be heard. She could have not been accepted unless she was loud and the funny one. Like she had to be the loud, funny one in order to be accepted, right? So there's all these reasons why we are the way we are, right? And so I want to explain why I am the way I am. So, over the next 30 days, I have so many different things I'm going to talk to you guys about. But today what came up for me was my past. So like most people didn't know me when I was like 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, years old. But there was some form of neglect happening. And so it took me a while to like really accept that was something that really took place. But at the same time, I've been able to heal myself so much now that I'm finally able to talk about it on live Facebook, right? And what I really believe is that when you meet people and you hear their real story and what they've been through and how they've worked on their stuff, like how they've accepted who they are, why they are the way they are, their shortcomings, their beliefs and their greatness, their potential, all those things, it really always comes from a story. And the powerful thing is that story is your story, and nobody can take it away from you. Nobody can tell you, well, no, that didn't happen to you, but it did, right? And it's not always the bad stuff. It's also the good stuff. It's like, yeah, I went to state championships and I won that. And I was in state choir and I did the dang thing, you know. I worked hard for, you know, this, that, and the other. Or I realized that certain things were super easy to me. I'm amazing at drawing, right? Something like that. So for me, when I was in this form of neglect, I was overeating. So like food was like this thing that was like, I needed it in order to survive, for me to get through this process that I was going through, right? And so during that time, it was maybe like third grade. Yeah, third grade was like fourth grade. I was really young. But because I was not understanding what I was going through at the time, you know, I was super confused. I was so confused. I was trying my best to be like the good little girl, and I wanted to be accepted so badly, and I wanted to be sweet, and I wanted to be kind, and I didn't want to be just the funny one. I wanted to be smart, you know, I wanted to be accepted. And so everyone wants that as well. And so when I started to really understand what was going on with my body, and I was going through health class and things like that, and I was in middle school, I had lost like a lot of weight. I lost like 100 pounds, almost, around 13, 14 years old. And that was all by like eating less, not eating healthy, not eating healthy. I was eating less and I was exercising, right? And again, this transformation thing I'm talking to you about is not about weight loss. It's a whole dimensional transformation that I've been going through with support and through me, mostly leading myself through the transformational process. So what happened was I'd lost all this weight, and it was so stark. I'd noticed how people changed the way they treated me immediately. And so part of this is the culture that I grew up in. It was mostly Caucasian, North Jersey, okay? It's different up there than other places that I've lived. The experience of what people see, it's different. And so there is no judgment in that. And when I look back on that, that actually makes me heal even more. I'm like, oh, well, it was just different over there, right? But some of the things I noticed, right? And this is where, like, it shapes you into who you are. So some of the things that people did was, like, they would see me and they'd be so embarrassed to talk to me or to befriend me because of, like, how big I was and how young I was. And, like, you can only imagine, like, as a teacher now, I'm like, oh my God, I can only imagine what my teachers were thinking, like, what's going on at her home, like, what's happening. But because I went through this, I realized I don't ever want someone to experience that feeling of just being ignored or being, you know, not only is there like, there's like neglect happening when I'm young, and then I'm overeating, and then it's affecting my physicality, but then it's also like the neglect of people not wanting to befriend me because they don't feel safe around me, or they feel like I'm weird, or they don't know what's wrong with me, you know. And I've seen it in other kids too, that like I've taught over the years too, where they have something weird, different, right? Really different, and something they're trying to handle on their own is just too much. It's just overwhelming, right? But the good thing is I was able to, you know, not only did I lose the weight and I recognized that, I was aware of it, I saw how people treated me differently. It was really good, but then I got kind of addicted to the affirmations that were coming. Like, I would get told all the time, oh my God, did you lose weight? Oh my gosh. Oh my God, you look so good. Oh, you look great. Like, and I know almost 100%, there's like 2%, but almost 100% of those people were saying things so that I could feel better and I could do better and I could be healthier. And they were coming from a place of love and support. They truly were. They're coming from a place where they wanted me to thrive, and they wanted me to eat healthy, and they wanted me to enjoy my life, and I was so young, and they saw what I went through and all those things. But at the same time, this addiction to being affirmed became my new normal. So then I went from being ignored in one way to being like, oh my gosh, I really want someone to tell me something good, like, again, because that fills my ego or my wherewithal, my let me go to the next thing, right? So that took me a while to be aware of that, because then now I'm not leaning on myself for my own affirmation. Now I'm leaning on other people to affirm me, like, oh, like I need to hear that I'm doing well, that I'm doing okay by others, right? Where before that, nobody wanted to talk to me. Nobody wanted me to tell me I'm doing a good job. So it was really, really difficult. Okay, so you can imagine. So you get the picture, right? So let's say you never knew me, and then you meet me, and I am 26. I'm 26, I'm looking good, I'm feeling good, I'm going through the vibes, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, she's so sweet. She's so, but me, as well as so many women and men, have worked really hard to get to that place, right? And so it's disappointing when I meet people who are not understanding of other people's past. And I remember I was in class one time, and one of my students had come in, and he said something about me. He said, you don't understand, because he had been through a loss in the family. And the other student called out across the room, and they're like, you don't know Miss Quinones' life, right? And I thought that was so eye-opening for an 8th grader to say, right? But sometimes I think adults should be aware of this, that they also have a past and a wherewithal of the experience that they've been through and how they see life and how they interact with people. And I honestly think that the world, and this is my whole thing with this challenge right now, the world will be a better place if these people thought about the potential, the possibility of what a past of that person's life looked like. Do you know who they've lost? Do you know what struggles they've endured, or what potential they've had to sacrifice in order to, take care of a loved one, or, make that state championship? So I'm going to leave that where it is. And that's kind of really what I wanted to lay down is, guys, really think about the people that you are interacting with and the things they're posting related to other people and meeting new people. Give them a chance. Get to know them. Really get to know them and their story and what they've been through. And then go from there, because that will set a solid foundation for a great workmanship, a great friendship, and being able to get along better in the world. You have more peace within yourself too, because then I did everything I could to be patient with this person. And you know what? They may not even open up to you about what their true story was. But the thing is, you'll feel good knowing that you gave them an opportunity to do so. So just want to share that piece with you guys, and I'll be back on tomorrow. Have a great evening. Mwah. Love you.